Lord have mercy. All right. Wherefore art thou? Links. We got, say, bam. We got bam. We got bam. And then we're fucking here. Day 22. Somehow we fucking made it. Yeah, I gotta tell you, I would love to sleep more than like 3 hours on a show night. And it's, like, it's not like I got a deadline to come in here and do this. I just wake up at 6 a.m., like, no matter what. Actually, 5 a.m., no matter what. So I just been fucking around, changing over the studio to the configuration where we do the editing. Put a steak into sous vide, and did some dishes and so forth. And now I'm ready to edit a Pulitzer-winning science fiction novel right here. Although man, it's hard to imagine the set of circumstances which would lead to this piece winning a Pulitzer. A lot of authors would need to die in very short order. And I don't have that kind of free time. Real talk. What do we got here? Is that? Why did I describe our characters as an unlovable pack of misfits? I hate writing copy. So one of the things about not having a giant publishing house sitting on top of you and doing all your dirty work is that you yourself will have to do things like write your own copy. Copy is like the text that you'll see on the back of the book. It's like, when two intrepid heroes face off against the Dark Lord and his infernal machinations, will anyone ever rescue their puppy? Read on and find, like, copy's annoying because copy always has an ulterior motive. Oh, shout out to DMA right there in the chat. Hold on, he may not be watching. Let me just holler at him. DMA is a real one. Just putting it out there. Yeah, so copy, and there's a lot of fucking copy that goes into a book. Like, you have to have a blurb on Amazon, but like, why should you read this? Yeah, why should I read your dumb book? And then it's, copy is meant to compel a person to do action. It's inherently always advertising. And it's very similar to, like, anytime somebody asks you about your book, you have to have like a little pitch for them, like a 5-second, and they call it like the elevator pitch, but people don't ride elevators any longer. So it's more the, like, why should I open a new tab for this pitch? I can turn that into I'll put that in my type 5. Hold on, let me actually, I'm gonna make a note of that one. No, it's too fucking corny. Well, you'll know it, reader who is out there. Except, do we have anyone out there? No, it's just me into the void. So yeah, don't steal that. I might be able to use it elsewhere. But yeah, so writing copy is completely different from writing like a novel, for instance, or writing like technical documentation, or even just chatting with people. It's very much consumed with the idea of manipulating other people to do things, which is weird, but I've never enjoyed advertising at all. I don't like. I think there's a more wholesome way that you can do it, where essentially you become part of a community and like, hey guys, here's this thing that I do, and it's part and parcel of like my participation in all these things. And that's generally what I try to do. Like, I go to a lot of science fiction conventions, and I'm a member of a science fiction writers group. And generally, like, if you saw me spamming this in a channel, it's because I've chatted there for a long time, and I like the people out there and so forth. But still, I just can't get that fucking taste out of my mouth. Ugh. Well, anyhow, the thing is that last night we were talking a little bit about this, about people who like doing the job that they have. And I was advising a young man who was getting into cybersecurity to really think about whether that's what he wanted to fucking do with his life for 30 years. Shout out to Skip Donahue right there on Mixer. So yeah, and I will tell you that there are people out there who are fucking great at writing copy and great at advertising and get like a secret thrill. It's like, yeah, it's like magic. I tricked them into doing my thing, you know? And they don't even see it as tricked. Like, I think to be a successful advertiser, you have to be a little bit of a true believer. You have to be have some missionary zeal about the product that you want to advertise. Like, yeah, this is amazing. Everybody should get in on this. Oh my God, it'll change your life. And which I should fucking have because I think these books are fucking fantastic. But yeah, good morning there, Skip. Fare thee well. Although in the UK right now, and is so like 6 hours. How does that fucking clock go? Was it the middle of the night over there? Oh, wait, that's not how the sun works at all. As it fucking sits in place and the Earth rotates around it. So right now in the UK, I want to say it's like just afternoon. Should be time for like some tea and crumpets or biscuits or something. I love, you know, you can say that at any time because it's always fucking time for tea and biscuits and whatever, and Warhammer and Imperial Aggression. Oh, did you listen to The Right to Bear Arms on YouTube? Yes, sorry, I read that one a little fast. It is before I took a course in reading audiobooks and learned that I read at like twice the human speed. But yeah, I had fun with that one. I really enjoyed it. I think it's like a little too speedy with the read through. I might reread it now that I'm like a little bit better at reading books, but hopefully we nailed it. Absolutely. Oh yeah, was it too speedy? God. Well, shout outs to paying someone $300 to tell me that. No, actually, the audiobook reading class that I took was phenomenal, and I should really get some lessons with that lady because I've put in much more time into reading practice now, just reading here on the show. Part of why we started doing this was I wanted to get better at reading audiobooks. Oh, absolutely, time to tea. All right, cool. So anyhow, now that we've blithered for a little bit here, let's get into Demonio. Just a heads up, this is a sex scene. If you're related to me and watching this, please don't talk to me about it. Ugh. Just tune into something fucking else if you can there. And it's not a particularly wholesome sex scene. In fact, it is. This scene used to be so bad that it made the book unpublishable. And now it's still going to be kind of a rough go right here. And so as we're working through it, we'll be like a little bit delicate with it there. Because ultimately, what happens in that scene is important to our character arcs. Hopefully it's something that we've earned and can learn from and so forth. But it's pretty gross when it really comes down to it. And I'll tell you one thing, it didn't seem gross to me 10 years ago, right? It really, because 10 years ago, I didn't think about women as human beings with their own emotions and desires and so forth. Like I thought about them that way, but I didn't really understand on a deep level. Oh, shots lit up right there. Aggressions and such. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, I'd love for that to get some more rotation. I should put that book back on fucking Spotify. It was there for a hot second. It was cool. I just would have to find the files again and run through the whole thing. Anyhow, so I will tell you, like when I was first writing, like I didn't have a good idea about what women were really all about. I'll say one of the things that made me a little bit better about it was one, dating like hundreds of people. And just being confronted time and time again with like their basic humanity and seeing like that certain actions of mine would make them feel bad. I'm not saying that I've like learned or become a better person or whatever, but I'm better able to recognize. Yeah, it really sounds like I'm some kind of fucking sociopath sharing my findings on what like being a human being is all about there. But Yeah, maybe that, maybe that's what's going on. But anyhow, when I first wrote this, I didn't have that clear understanding, which was weird because I had been in like this long relationship with somebody who I was like deeply in love with and considered my best friend and cared for them a lot. But I just really didn't fucking understand what they were all about. And I thought I did, but I didn't. Anyhow, let's not get too deep into it. But yeah, this is Lemon Maybe and the Electric Lady by Zak Zyz. Chapter 18, Demonio. Actually, would you say it Demonio or... Here, let's get the pronunciation of this guy. How to pronounce...
Demonio.
Yeah, I got it exactly fucking right. Although that guy sounds super white. Hold on.
Demonio.
No, this guy's not right. Let me get a Spanish sounding person.
Demonio.
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 Demonio. See, like that's what I wanted. That Spanish lady doing it right. Demonio. Oh wow, tweeted about it and told your book club. Holy shit, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's hard out here for a player. Really quite difficult to get anything done. And that's fucking enormous for me right there. Yeah. And like keep in mind anybody who is trying to learn editing or wants some advice about the publishing industry or whatever from a relative outsider, but I've been in the game a long time. I'm always happy to talk with people about books. One of the places where I am super qualified to talk with people and help with people is about the process of like putting these physical books together, like actually doing all the things that make a book, such as writing it, editing it, typesetting it, graphic layout, and sort of things like ISBN numbers and so forth. I know all that shit pretty well at this point. And I know a fair bit about how distribution works and so forth too. Just is the marketing where I need to just start dating some woman who is like a marketing genius. Spanish ladies usually do. God damn. Demonio. Well, let's begin. This is chapter 114. It's occurring at 9:06 p.m. in Harlem. And if we scroll right back here, Sistine Avenue, why that's happening at 9:06 p.m. in Coney Island. And what's happening over here? This is a dream. This doesn't happen. 9:06 p.m. Rockaway Boulevard. What the fuck is going on like that? All these chapters are happening. Wow, like all my words were trying to come out simultaneously as well. All these chapters are happening simultaneously in real time. All these characters are reaching the different zeniths of their first arcs, their day one arcs, all culminate here, which I think is really cool. They all happen at the exact same time, 9:06 p.m. All right. And Maybe's is the worst of them, by far. Even when you see what fucking Matthew is about to do, Maybe's is the worst. Because Maybe's is personal. Oh, wow. In the dim light of the air shaft, Maybe watches the outline of Rosalie's hand moving slowly beneath her sheets. He listens to her every breath like it's the swell of an orchestra. Hopefully we didn't use swell of an orchestra in the last couple chapters. So there we don't... He listens to her every breath like it's the swell of an orchestra. Oh, you should be there. Her eyes are closed tightly. Her eyes are closed tightly, and her face is turned into the pillow. She's trying so hard to be silent. Yeah. She's trying so hard to be silent. Every little sound that escapes her is like a tiny explosion in her chest. Okay, I don't like that. No, we didn't have to hit format there. Okay, so 0.49 indent. Why? Was there an N in my there? She's trying so hard to be silent. Each tiny sound that escapes her lips is like a small explosion in his chest. Each minute sound that escapes her lips is like a tiny explosion in his chest. That's a tough sentence right there. Rosalie is trying so hard to be silent, and she can't quite. Oh, I don't like can't quite. The sounds that escape her lips are like tiny explosion in Maybe's chest. Let's see. I don't think we. I think we just need to cut tiny explosions. I think it is too reachy. The soft sounds that escape her lips make Maybe's heart lurch so hard he thinks he might die at any moment. I like it. It's impossible to be so aroused, so alive. There's a musky, imperative smell in the air that is short-circuited and that is hyphenated. I think musky is fucking there's an imperative scent in the air that has short-circuited everything else in his brain. On her bedside table is a stack of his letters, fluttering in the draft. Okay. So in this rewrite, the love letters are a new addition there, and they're an addition that I realize is like strange, right? Because honest to God, I don't know if you have ever received secret admirer letters from somebody, but I have, and it's not a wholly good feeling to get a letter from somebody who is like a secret admirer. There's a little bit of a, oh no, feeling that's going on there. And I'm not trying to like suck my own dick here. This will happen to anybody who has a viewer base of over like 20 people. Eventually somebody will just ascribe to you qualities which you may or may not possess and decide that you're the one for them. And then you'll have to deal with it. And some of these people will do it in secret, maybe because they're invisible people and they are worried about their secret getting out. But I'm fully aware that just sending secret letters to somebody wouldn't, for most people, have this effect. Like they wouldn't get really off on it. But I will tell you that there is a subset of people where like getting secret admirers like that would really do it for them. Anyhow, but we added in like this very rewrite, we added in the fact that he is continually dropping her love letters and that he's been in trance with her for months. And we have this thing where like now he's finding that she is indeed receptive to those love letters because literally she's super shy and very sheltered, and he is the only person showing her this kind of attention at all. So that was an addition. Previously, he just showed the fuck up in her room and was like, yo, baby, wanna fuck? Not exactly like that, but a little of that happening there. And it was like almost grotesquely awkward. We just didn't have any kind of lead into it here. So we added that device to try and ease the path for readers who were like no, like, you know, like 15 or 14 or however old they're meant to be, like your old girl is just going to be like, okay, I'll just get with this ghost. But they are very fucking wrong because I have known in my life 14 and 15-year-old girls who, back during a time where I was like 14 and 15, I should specify, where they would absolutely just get with a ghost or anybody else who just happened to pop up wherever. It's a weird time in your life if you are a child. Anyhow, on her bedside table is a stack of his letters. Oh, we should say that they're love letters because some readers won't. Yeah. So, oh my God, tell me that you've seen that film, or that comment must seem well awkward. I have not seen that film, and it did seem very awkward. I was like, what is this, fucking Pokemon? Good God Almighty. What we got here? Rosalie maybe murmurs without meaning to. Rosalie maybe murmurs her name without meaning to. So here we're adding her name right here. And also we're ending our sentence with a preposition, which is like a little bit tough there. And it feels like it shouldn't end that way. Rosalie maybe murmurs her name without meaning to. The word flutters from his lips, desire given flight. It's about a radio DJ. It's Clint Eastwood, and it's brilliant. Huh. I'm not a radio DJ. Clint Eastwood. Hold on. Is it talk radio? Play Misty. Oh, no, it's a movie. It's Clint Eastwood's directorial debut. Play Misty for me. Oh, it's like a kind of like a Misery type thing. So Clint Eastwood's in it. Oh, Clint Eastwood stars in it right there. And it's a jazz standard. Huh. The scream you hear may be your own. Yeah, kind of like a fucking Misery type situation happening there. Although that movie came out before Misery came out. So, you know, like it's that's Stephen King stealing the fucking genre. Huh. Yeah, but I might check that out. I'll keep that open. Wait, how many recommendations of things to watch do I have? I've got Stephen Bruce and Play Misty for me. I like actually a bunch of things that Clint Eastwood has directed. He's got a good feel for it there. I thought Gran Torino was fucking great. But I don't know how much of that is just enjoying frank depictions of racism against Hmong people. But oh. The word flutters from his lips, desire given flight. The spell is broken. Rosalie maybe murmurs her name without meaning to. The word flutters from his lips, desire given flight. His hand leaps to cover his mouth, but it's too late. The spell is broken. Rosalie's hand stops moving. Her eyes slide open with the slow confusion of shedding a dream. Then they're wide and gleaming in the dark. She's terrified, and so is he. Matey's whole being is full, yeah. Maybe his whole being is overflowing with hopeless love and boundless terror that he'll mess this up again. He's afraid that he won't be able to get the right words out, won't be able to make her love him. Yeah, this is such a young man phrase right here. Won't be able to make her love him. Oof. Shit fucking hurts. Maybe he doesn't know where they go, but on Monday nights, Rosalie's parents and her brothers are always gone, and Rosalie always stays home alone. She sneaks ice cream from the freezer. She watches stuff on TV she's not allowed to. Sometimes she takes a long hot bath, unaware of the invisible boy silently adoring her. Never this. Never before. So Skip Donahue says, I would love it if the right to bear arms carried on like he survives the explosion with the doctor guy and tries again to get the cunt president. It was a sad ending. Like, it's open-ended. The story is not specific as to whether or not he survives the explosion. In my mind, it seems very possible that he would have survived. And spoiler for, there's an explosion at the end of that. I'm not going to say exactly what goes down. It's very possible that he survives. But you have to think about, say that he did survive, right? With his two prosthetic arms. What's the first thing that the secret agent or a secret service is going to do? They're going to take apart those fucking arms all over again. And can they do that? Is it considered torture to take apart somebody's prosthetic arms if they are, if they're like essentially, if he can feel them and there are nerves running through them, right? Just I want to like think about the idea that people can cut off your fucking arms in the government if they feel like it, which is a weird thing for prisoners. Like the idea that you might have like a relatively advanced prosthetic, and in prison, like obviously that, you know, they just take it off of you and so forth. There's something chilling about that. It's worth exploring. Yeah, it's open-ended. It does not specify whether or not he dies, and there won't be a sequel. I'm not going to write additional ones, but you can totally imagine some other stuff going on. I don't know what the fuck that image is. Oh, well, it doesn't fucking matter. It's just Pylo. Oh, I think it's a pacifier covered with ants. Yeah, but the battery overload was a clear way to hide the bomb. Yeah, I really like that story. I think it does a good job of conveying like that slow and sad theme. I enjoyed having all the asides, sort of like that piano music going in the back of it there. I'm trying to think of what I'm going to do music-wise for Space Tards when we record the audiobook. I might work on that a little today. I'm also thinking about going for a motorcycle ride, so we'll see what wins out. I don't like Never This, Never Before. She's never done this before. No, I don't like that either. Never This. Oh, yeah. All right, we're going to leave that there. Never This, Never Before. I like the way that those words kind of flow across the page. It's awkward, though. That is definitely a place where an editor may disagree. Yeah, that old piano. Go for a ride. Yeah, I'm gonna see what all I get done. But for right now, I'm definitely gonna concentrate on this guy. Maybe he always wondered what Rosalie did with all of his letters. She hides them in the pages of a Oh wait, I think okay, fuck off. Why Safari? Okay, I think this is lowercase because it's the title of a book. So by the way, this book right here is when I like look for books that a 14 or 15-year-old girl in Harlem might have like to read for English class. And Y no se lo traigo la tierra. Sorry about the accent. Um, is a story about Mexican. It's a series of interconnected short story. Not even really interconnected, honestly. It's a series of short stories about Mexican migrant workers in maybe era might be like somewhere between the 20s and 50s, I want to say, and just deals a lot with like some of their beliefs and like the weird struggles that they have, and just has it's like a pastiche of different things that are happening there. I don't like the word pastiche, by the way, but so I actually had to like look up like what books might a girl have there. She maybe always wondered what Rosalie did with all his letters. She hides them in the pages of a well-worn copy of Y no se le she hides them in the pages of a well-worn copy of Y no se lo traigo la tierra, which means, and the earth did not swallow him, which is about a story in the book where a young man goes out and denies the existence of God, and or maybe he denies the existence of the devil. One of those two. I think it's actually the devil. No, I'm recalling it. And the earth doesn't open up and swallow him and drag him down to hell. And in a way, for him, that's worse, which is a really interesting concept there. Oh yeah, don't feel sorry at all. I'm like happy to have somebody to talk to. This is a lonely fucking edit out here with my blood brothers Spathiwa and Logic, both drunk. But she hides them in the pages of a well-worn copy of Y no se lo traigo la tierra. I saw more Italian than Spanish there, in the drawer of her bedside table. Hidden in the drawer. Oh, yeah. So we might change the word. Let's look for a different word for secretes. Yeah, stashed. So one thing about the right to bear arms is cryosome real? I know I always do my research. Can I hook a brother up? No, but there is ongoing research as to, and there will always be long-term research into suspended animation in human beings for extended spaceflight. So this is something that we're researching. It's actually quite difficult to knock somebody out for that period of time, like without killing them or wrecking their bodies. Anesthesia is it's a pretty tough science right there. But spoiler, that same cryosome is in another book, which is set much later, called Survival Mode, which is my first novella. And it's actually a plot point that the main character is a former cryosome addict. So, yeah, hell yeah. And that's just like a very lazy mishmash of fucking soma and the preface cryo for cryogenic. And what does the preface cryo actually mean? Does it just mean cold? Let's take a look. Prefix. Yeah, I think it just means ice. Icy cold frost. I use in the from ancient Greek. Let's see. And we got to go to Wiktionary. Wiktionary is actually awesome there. Learned, borrowing from ancient Greek. So Kryos, icy cold, chill, or frost. Okay. Yeah, I want to get to Mars for real. Well, just start getting into a. You could be Elon's fluffer, because I it's going to be tough to get it up for Grimes for the duration of a marriage or whatever NTR thing that they've got going on there. But yeah, just get in good with Elon somehow, and it might happen in your lifetime. Probably not in mine, but we'll see. Like I'm a big fan of Mars exploration. I think we should be off of this planet already. I think we should already have like a fucking lunar base and be working our asses off, because I'm a big believer in data redundancy. But Rosalie, maybe says again, fighting to get his words out. Rosalie, maybe repeats, fighting to get words out. Aye. There's a crack outside the window as loud as a gunshot, and thunder roaring like the sky, and thunder, yeah, let's just take out roaring. And thunder like the sky's tearing itself in half. Rosalie screams and maybe takes an involuntary step back. There he is, big Spathy War. You're gonna kickstart a mission to Mars. Hell yeah. It's a lot more difficult to live on Mars than I think The Martian would have you believe. And the whole story is about how difficult it is to live on Mars. Wait, hold on. Good lord. Oh, that's so weird looking. Wait, it's something about B12 vitamin. Acute vitamin B12 supplementation evokes antidepressant response and alters NTRK2. Huh. I don't know what that's all about. A lot of audiobooks on the long trip. Oh shit, I'm actually hold on. I just all right, so this isn't published yet, but I have a story called Letters from Mars that I don't think I'm even going to work on it or do any, like I didn't think it was good enough to pass muster or whatever. But it's a series of 4 letters written from someone who is working on Mars as a miner, written back to his fiance back at home. So yeah, I just wrote that story. There was a story that I wrote after we finished Gravid, and then I was like, this isn't really good enough to edit or work on there. But yeah, if you're interested in checking it out there, just because, yeah, this is normally something I would throw to patrons or something like that. But yeah, like let me know, and I can, I don't know, maybe we'll do an edit of it at some point there. But I didn't think it was good enough. It was an interesting premise. I don't know. Maybe I'll take another look at it at some point there. I've been really wanting to write for a little bit, and I just haven't had a second. Yeah, it's interesting. It is supposed to track with the 4 seasons also, like spring, summer, fall, winter, even though they don't have 4 seasons on Mars. It's just dust all the time. Rosalie screams and maybe takes an involuntary step backward. It saves him. It saves him. Rosalie grasps for something on the other side of the bed and her arms whips at him, flashing in the air shaft light. It takes maybe a second to realize what's going on. She has a knife. Oh shit, she has a knife. Apparate de mi, Satanas. Hold on, let me see if we can get a pronunciation on this here. And hopefully, if you understand Spanish at all, English translation. Site got hacked? Never again. This is Get Behind Me, Satan. Wow, like the videos for this are like 40 minutes long. All right, here, let's try Google Translate.
Apártate de mí, Satanás.
Apartate de mí, Satanás.
Apártate de mí, Satanás.
Apartate de mí, Satanás. I like it. Yeah. I'm a big Santana fan also. Hell yeah. Doom, doom, doo, doo. Maybe he retreats through the bedroom door. He doesn't speak much Spanish, but he gets the message. He's running his hands all over his arm. He runs his hands over his arms and chest, afraid he's been cut and can't feel it. Afraid she's going to hurt herself, He's worried she's going to hurt herself thrashing around with that knife. So I like that too, where his first thought is, oh shit, am I cut? But immediately he's worried about Rosalie, right? And I like that order of operations because I think it's very realistic. And I also like that he's concerned for her well-being and not just like seeing her as an object for to make his dick card. I mean, as tiny as that is, like just hoping that somebody is okay. Yeah, I definitely, we probably did not manage to make this less creepy in the rewrite. Stop it! Stop it! Maybe shouts, and she points the knife at. Rosalie points the knife at the sound of his voice. Maybe he tenses, ready to spring aside if she throws it at him. Please be calm. I'm turning on the light. Rosalie hisses more angry Spanish he can't understand. Rosalie hisses more angry Spanish that maybe can't understand. Rosalie hisses more angry Spanish, maybe still can't understand. Hell yeah. Oh. Rosalie hisses more angry Spanish, maybe still can't understand. He flicks on the light switch. He can't believe this is Rosalie. Wait, hold on. When we say carving knife, I think like we'd see, yeah, like one of these fucking like a cleaver. Uh, Now let's take a look at types of knives. What do I got here? Carver knife, chef knife, a paring knife. Huh. Oh, I didn't know that those like fork tip knives. Yeah, none of those are ones where I would just oh, those shout outs to Wusthof. I have some of those fucking knives. They're good. Uh let's see. The problem is, like, I don't want her to have the same fucking. I don't want to tie her in to Mary Tantoko, the woman that was with fucking Chance. Let's just call it a kitchen knife. No, that looks wrong. Cool. Butcher knife. This is a butcher knife right here. God damn. That's a big ass knife. Let's see what they look like on Amazon right here. Yeah, look at these fucking knives. Pack a wood handle, curved boning knife. The problem is, like, there are like knife nerds that will like fucking critique your every decision involving a knife. Oh my god. And I don't want to say boning knife either, because I don't want to foreshadow our boning with a boning knife. Yeah, I think we're just gonna say butcher. Butcher knife is kind of like a it's one of those words where like actually it's called a chef's knife. But no, I don't want her to have a fucking cleaver. It's really weird here, but like we're introducing a knife into the bedroom, and a cleaver is for chopping things off, and I don't want the readers like I'd like to avoid the reader thinking about her chopping his dick off, right? Which is what a cleaver would evoke for me. That's a little bit too Freudian for yours truly. Um, um, hmm. So a paring knife is a small. I thought about a paring knife, but it doesn't. I want it to be like a big old fucking knife. Like, oh my god, I want a little of that happening there. And I like the phrase Stanley knife. I like how Stanley knife sounds, but a Stanley knife isn't fucking intimidating. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, she's got a box cutter. Okay. Um, like I want this to be, and like I don't want it to be a fucking machete. That's like a little too much. Like, so we got like a three little bears thing happening right here. I want to put like she's turning undead. Um, as someone that's been cut a few times, they're pretty scary. It's kind of a thing here. Yeah, you guys have like a. You remember when we were looking at that forked knife, and I was like, "Ooh, a safety knife," because like all the so much knife crime in the UK. When are you guys gonna learn? That was like one of the dumbest shit that I saw in the UK. Um, like in the US, we don't have a lot of knife crime, and I'll tell you why. You'll get fucking shot. Like you'll pull a knife on somebody, they'll be like, "Oh, that's cute," blam, just like fucking that. Um, you know, we have the whole phrase, "Don't bring a gun to a knife fight." Oh wait, no, it's the other way around. Uh, don't bring a fist fuck to a. I'm very confused here, but anyhow, yeah, don't bring a knife to a gunfight. And anytime that you accost somebody in the United States, even here in New York, where guns are super duper illegal for most folks, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get shot pulling a knife on somebody. And then that person who shot you will just be like, "Yep, you had a fucking knife. What was I supposed to do?" But I think generally in the UK, I had like a lot of people try to mug me when I was like living in London. Like, "Oi, what are you looking at?" And like my reactions, like I don't like know to be afraid of these guys, so I'm like, whatever I fucking want, you know. And then I literally like had some chav asshole, "What do you fucking look at?" I was like, "Whatever I want, you know. I can look at anyone." And he's just like, "What?" You know, the response was so atypical, and then it dawned on me like he was like trying to shake me down for money, but the moment had passed. He was just like too perplexed by my rejoinder right there. Yeah. Yeah, fucking nanny state. I hear old Boris is trying to get everybody on bicycles. I don't know, man. Yeah, if I lived in the UK and I was really worried about it, I think I'd just dress like a contractor all the time and like uh, carry my claw hammer with me to go jogging. But we were talking about that case yesterday. Like, I don't know what to think about the whole thing. I guess the facts aren't out there, or I haven't done enough research. But yeah, it's not good. It's not good for anybody involved, right there. And I certainly don't want to come down on the side of defending like two hillbillies that blasted some dude with a shotgun. So Skip Donahue says Boris can fuck himself. Well, I'm still glad that Bojo is alive. That Rona didn't get him. Honestly, if you watch like some of his appearances on Letterman and so forth, he's like a cleverer version of old Trump Donatello there. But he's still like very much putting on like the buffoon act in the very same way. It's weird that we have two like guys who are pretending as hard as they possibly can to be stupid and unkempt, and that's just worked with the vast majority of people. That's how they've been able to seize political power on like anti-immigrant sentiment and just looking like a fucking slob. So there's hope for me yet. But no, I'm with Boris on this one. Everybody should ride a fucking bicycle. Nobody should have a car if they can help it. These things are bullshit. But I say that, but I have a giant ass motorcycle, and I'm gonna go drive it later today. Fucking motorcycle probably puts out like twice the emissions of a car. It's ridiculous. Anyhow. Oh, I think we're trying to do too much in this paragraph. I really want to put that in the book. I don't think we can get away with like she's about to turn undead. No, I don't think we can do that. Maybe you can't believe this is Rosalie. A quiet little girl with braces has a butcher knife in her hand. Her eyes are alit with fury. Oh my god. That's making the final cut. She raises the cross at maybe, like a pantsless exorcist. That may be the only time that pantsless exorcist has ever been uttered. Let's find out. No results found for pantsless exorcist. Hell yeah. And apparently, Christopher Reeve's Smoking Hot Sun goes pantsless on air, is the closest that we can get. Father Scalio was pantsless and on his knees, face pitched forward. So this is from a book called Red Harvest, which is pretty close. Pantsless party's source, please. Wow. Pantsless is not actually a word, by the way. I love that. Maybe is frozen in the doorway. Rosalie's hands begin to shake. She's crazy. She's beautiful. He has no idea what to do. It's Sunday fucking morning. Load. Christ. Yeah. It's a great time to blaspheme. I just want to draw your attention to the fact this is a super duper blasphemous section of the book here. Maybe is frozen in the doorway. Rosalie's hands begin to shake. She's crazy. She's beautiful. He has no idea what to do. When Maybe planned this out, he never thought she'd have a knife. Never suspected she'd come after him like he was a fucking vampire or something. I should just leave. Leave and never bother her again. I should just leave. I should never bother her again. Who are you? What do you want? Her accent is much stronger than it was in class. So, it would come out like, "Who are you? What do you want?" It would come out something like that, but we're not going to type that into the book because that's so hackneyed. Ooh, shit. So Raborn got about 2 steps from suicide last night. No way I'm tripping alone ever again. Furious like only a woman 3 days into her first period can be. That can't be the case for reasons that will be discussed later. Also, I don't want to. It's a little. It's a little. I don't know. You get in kind of into like. I don't want to be like, oh, she's just PMSing or whatever. I don't want to be dismissive of women in that way because that just makes them much madder. I've learned in my time, and also like, I digress. Who are you? What do you want? Rosalie, that's awful. I'm never going to be a voice actor. Well, I might be, but I would have to work like so much harder on accents. Yeah, what if I had just been putting an hour a day into like voice acting? This whole fucking coronavirus. I should do it. Because you don't really hold up crosses at werewolves. Vampires are the ones that give a shit about crosses. Like at least if we're staying like mythologically intact there. You got to be real fucking careful with that LSD. Very few of my experiences like tripping alone were good ideas. And I usually wind up alone at some point when I'm tripping because I'll like go off from everybody else. But yeah, you get into some real fucking trouble with that LSD. Mushrooms are a little different. You can take mushrooms on your own and have a good time. LSD is kind of hard, you know what I mean? And like when you're settling in for that trip, if there's anything that's bothering you in your life, like you're worried about a health problem or worried about money or whatever, guess what? That's what you're dealing with for 8 hours while your brain is melting. So never had a bad trip. I just make weird noises all the time because it amuses me. Up until now, all great. Yeah, it really only takes one bad trip to realize, like, oh shit, there's a lot rattling around upstairs that I don't deal with every single day, but it's there beneath the surface. Yeah, like LSD is much more of a like powerful fucking drug than I think a lot of people give it credit for, and one which puts you in severe psychic peril. I want to say. Mescaline is also up there where there's an element of, there's a fucking reason why very few people are addicted to LSD because Jesus, yeah, you're really getting in there. I'm working on it. You used to have acid with the speed chaser. Yeah, that's one way that you can prevent yourself from having like a real bad trip is by mixing it with other stuff like LSD and wine. You're going to have like a fantastic fucking time. You'll be giggling and everything seems wonderful. That's a really fun combination, but it's hard to stay drunk for like 16 hours, right? So at some point, that's one hell of a fucking hangover. It wasn't anything bad regarding personal problems. I thought I had fucked up all of society by sheer accident. Well, maybe it's time. Society seems pretty fucked already. Let me try and get through this old chapter because we're steadily falling behind in our page goals. Who are you? What do you want? Rosalie asks in English when he doesn't respond. Rosalie switches to English when he doesn't respond to her questions in Spanish. Her accent is much stronger than it was in class. I was Maybe begins, but then stops himself. Maybe begins, but he stops himself. I was in your third period history class before I turned invisible. I never said a word to you, but here I am in your bedroom. Maybe he rehearsed everything he wanted to say 1,000 times in his head, but he never expected this. No way this shit is gonna fly. Everything he prepared seems stupid now. He's staring at the knife, at the cross, trying to think of a way out of this. He has to think of a way out of this. I'm an angel, maybe blurts out. I'm an angel, maybe blurts. As the words leave his mouth, he can't believe he said it. Can't believe he's fucking doing this. God sent me to you. Look. Maybe picks up the Bible resting on the bookshelf by our light switch. Maybe picks up the red leather Bible resting on the bookshelf by our light switch, the first thing at hand. He holds it in the air, the fake leather cover. Uh, what do I want to say? All right, so going back to sleep for Rabbit. Yeah, feel better, man. What is it? What are you supposed to fucking take after LSD to like? Maybe it's ecstasy, where you're supposed to take some drug afterward to fix your brain. I think take a fucking Advil if you can now, and drink some juice, and you'll feel a little bit better when you come out of that. And then you're gonna have a rough couple days. Real talk. There's a red leather Bible on the bookshelf by the light switch. Maybe he picks it up and gently sweeps it through the air. Yeah, I can't think of a way to say like a corny magician. Hold on. What do they fucking give you? Is it Valium that they give you when you're like having a bad trip and they just want to knock it out of you? Maybe it's like it's either Valium or Prozac. Oh, hold on. I gotta remember that. There's some drug that just immediately deactivates LSD. Uh, yeah, it's like Halidol or something. Ergotism. I forget what they fucking give you in the hospital. Taking more drugs will make you feel worse. There's something that there's some shit that they give you. Zopiclones. Supportive therapy and minimalization of intervention. That's it. Diazepam. So pretty much any benzo will decrease fear and anxiety, but they don't subdue hallucinations. Severe cases, haloperidol can stop. Oh, okay, yeah. Haloperidol is what the fuck is haloperidol? Yeah, Halidol. Yeah, that's exactly what I was fucking thinking right there. Yeah, Halidol just knocks that shit right the fuck out of you. Which is wild. It's wild how like LSD is triggering like some of the same spots as schizophrenia. But yeah, it's kind of like a neat idea that you can just keep some of that shit on hand and knock yourself right out of it. Halidol will make you feel like a total fucking zombie, though. That's a bad drug. Can give you fits. Yeah, you can seize the fuck up. I don't know, it's dangerous territory you're exploring there if you want to be a psychonaut. Yeah, I hope Radborn's like a really sweethearted person. He's a nice dude, and like he's not gonna hear this, but I hope that he's fucking okay there. Sucks that he had to have a bad trip, but like you were saying there, bad trips are ones that you really learn from. Like I once had a terrible fucking trip on mescaline, where I became convinced that I was trapped in a cycle of reincarnation, and wanted to devote my life to attaining nirvana. And then here I am. It didn't work, but I tried for a hot second. There's a red leather Bible on the bookshelf by the light switch. Maybe lifts it and sweeps it through the air like a corny magician, praying she buys it. Rosalie's mouth drops open. She's stunned. Please put the knife away. I'm not here to hurt you. Maybe pleads. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Oh my God. Just like that, everything has changed. She looks up at the floating Bible with her hands clasped. Maybe's lips part in surprise. He hadn't actually expected this to work. In Rosalie's eyes, the gleam of a 14-year-old is hyphenated. In Rosalie's eyes is the gleam of a 14-year-old Catholic girl who spent her whole life waiting for this moment. She looks so excited, so hopeful. It breaks something inside of him. I know it's wrong, and I don't care. What do you want from me? She asks. What do you want from me? Rosalie asks. What do you want from me? Rosalie asks. Let's look for a softer word for ass. I think that's a spot where interacts and join. She's not pleading. It's not urging. It supplicates. Supplicate is the right word here, but we're absolutely not gonna use it right here. Let's take a look if there's anything. No. I want to. She looks up at the floating Bible with her hands clasped in supplication. I really, I want to include that word in there because supplication is moving like a little into the next phase of this whole situation right here, which is where we have like a weird transition. So it's a good spot to include that word. What do you want from me? Rosalie asks. Her voice is almost too faint to hear above the rain outside. Ooh, that's got to be blowing pretty hard too. I wrote you letters, Maybe says. Maybe says in a wavering voice. He points at the stack beside her bed, but of course she can't see. He points at the stack of envelopes beside her bed, but of course she can't see. You! How did you do it? I washed the locker once until dark. No one ever came, but the letter was there. How do you know all these things about me? I'm in love with you, Maybe answers. Esto es un sueño. Sueño. Hold on. Oh, wait. Kulila. All right. Let's go back to Google Translate here. I am so sorry to anybody who actually speaks decent Spanish that I can't do this right.
Esto es un sueño.
Esto es un sueño. Cool. How did you do it? You! How did you do it? I watched the locker once until dark. No one ever came, but the letter was there. How do you know all these things? How do you know all these things about me? I'm in love with you, Maybe answers. Esto es un sueño, Rosalie says, but he doesn't understand. For an awkward moment, Maybe doesn't know what to do. Oh, we've said that. But he doesn't understand, and he doesn't know what to do. but maybe he doesn't understand. A real angel would know Spanish, he thinks. You saw me? Rosalie asks, with a quick motion of her head to the bed. Her cheeks are bright red with shame. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, she laments. Don't be sorry. You're beautiful. Don't be sorry. You're beautiful. Maybe's voice is suddenly stronger. For the first time, he feels sure. For the first time tonight, he feels certain. It's wrong, Rosalie insists. He shakes his head, uselessly. It's not wrong. I'm the same way about you, Maybe tries to reassure her, wishing more than anything she could see his face. Oh, we can't have that there. Yeah, let's take that out. Okay. Hold on, let me... There we go. Why don't you speak Spanish? Rosalie challenges. It's a misstep. Rosalie frowns and squints at the empty air, looking for an outline. Why don't you speak Spanish? She challenges. Yo aprender, Maybe tries. Estoy aprendiendo, she corrects. Estoy aprendiendo. Estoy aprendiendo, Maybe echoes. I'm only 14. I didn't know angels could be young. Why can't I see you? Estoy invisible. Maybe knows that one's a cognate. That one's easier. It's a cognate. Always? Always. Why? Is it sad? Very lonely, he says. I don't know why I'm this way. You can never see me. Her lower lip is tight. But you see me. You're the only one. But you see me. You know me. No one else notices me. Your letters are so beautiful. I love you, Mavie says. I see you every day. I know when you're sad, when you cry. Let's see. I love you. I see you every day. I see you when you're alone, when you're unhappy, when you cry. I wish I could make you happy, he confesses. Are you just a spirit? No, I have a body. You just can't see it. Oh, so she... we need to think about posture here. This is such a fucking clunky and awkward chapter. And we're writing about very clunky and awkward people, but still, Jesus fucking Christ. it's a rough one. Fucking pinwheel. Woo, OSX. It's my own fucking fault. Like this machine needs maintenance, and I know how to do it. I'm lazy. I'm lazy. You don't have to. No. Okay, so we didn't get into it here, but here she's just like wearing a t-shirt and doesn't have underwear on. Uh, but maybe we should specify that a little bit further up. It's really hard to write this without feeling so creepy. uh, Getting too old for this shit. Uh, she slides the knife away and sits hugging her knees with her back to the bed. Uh, she slides the knife away. She slides the knife away from herself and sits hugging her knees with her back against the bed. Real important to get um, the um, the the fucking blocking of the scene right here, because in a second she's gonna reach out and try to touch him. That's we went back and did all that because I was like, she's reaching out and trying to make contact with him, and I don't know where she is physically at in the scene right there. I don't know. Like this is a spot where you just need to think about it a little bit like a stage and be like, where are my characters physically in this space? She reaches a hand in his direction, but she's way off. I can't feel you, she complains. Maybe he steps forward, and taking a deep breath, he dares to take her hand in his. She stares at the way the light bends when he touches her, then she has to look away from the distortion. Maybe he only meant to hold her hand, but his other hand. Maybe he only meant to hold maybe he only meant to touch her hand, but that, He's waited for this moment for so long, his body is moving ahead of his brain. Maybe he shuts his eyes. Before he knows it, he's on the floor with her, wrapping her in an embrace. Maybe he shuts his eyes, caught in her scent like he's lost in a deep forest. Rosalie begins to tremble. It's okay, is all he can think to whisper in his ear. He can't believe he's doing this. He's never been so afraid in his life. Never wanted... He's never wanted something so much that it overrode everything else. Just this, just the hug, stop here, he's telling himself, but no one is listening. Maybe nuzzles her neck, the space behind her ear, and a little sound escapes her. The shampoo she uses smells like strawberries, peaches, girl things. You're warm, she says. He sent me for you, maybe whispers in Rosalie's ear, so worked up he almost believes it himself. His face feels so hot. Oh, yeah. Those are the words, the magic words. You really love me? Rosalie asks. More than anything, maybe says. You won't. Will you have to go back to heaven? No, I'll be with you always. I read your letters 100 times. I dreamed about you, Rosalie says. She looks away again. She looks away again, turning her face. It's not wrong? No, it's right, maybe says. He kisses her on the mouth. An awkward thing, she doesn't return. She pushes him away. She pushes him back. Yeah. Ugh. You gotta soldier through. No, it's right, maybe assures. He kisses her on the mouth. It's an awkward thing that she doesn't return. It's an awkward thing she doesn't return. He kisses her on the mouth. An awkward thing she doesn't return. I'm sorry, he says. When you get close, it's like I'm underwater. I can't see. I'm sorry, I'll stop. I don't know how to, Rosalie says. I've never done that. Me neither. It's okay, just close your eyes, maybe murmurs. He runs his hand along her cheek and tries again, slower, better. He kisses her again, and after a moment she's kissing him back, just as awkwardly. 100% definitely going to hell for this chapter and several of the chapters in Gravid and several of the chapters yet to come. I will tell you like one good note in all of this. There are only like 3 or 4 chapters like this in the book. It's not like Gravid where it's every other fucking chapter. This is probably either the worst or the second worst chapter for this in the whole book, and then you're home free, and it's just demons and fucking superheroes. Maybe he kisses Rosalie again, and then after a moment she's kissing him back. And so awkward and new and incredible. It feels like it goes on for hours. Maybe he slips his tongue into her mouth and feels the unfamiliar sensation of her braces, her tongue retreating from his, then tentatively moving to meet him. He sets a hand at the center of her chest and feels her heart beating. He sets her hand on his chest so she can feel his surging back in response. The rest of the world is melting. There's no room, no storm outside, no time, only her. They're kissing on her bed in the slow and fumbling way of people who have never done it before. Slow and determined as a glacier, Maybe's hand is slipping under her shirt. He cups one of her breasts, and it's the softest thing he's ever felt. Rosalie is searching for his arms. She finds his wrist and stops him. For a moment, Maybe freezes up. He's afraid he's gone too far. But after... She loosens her grip. Her cheeks are flushed, and she closes her eyes, tilting her face away from him. Her teeth are pressed into her lower lip, and she inhales through her nose. The air is full of the scent of her excitement. Ooh. Rosalie makes a soft, perfect sound as he kisses her breast through her nightshirt. Maybe takes his shirt off first, dropping it to the floor beside the bed. Then he slips her pajama top over her head. She lets him, but then she crosses her arms over her chest to cover herself. Gently, he tugs her... He can't stop looking at her dark nipples, the faint lines of veins beneath her pale skin. Okay, so we probably should have stopped writing this scene up here. In The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the comic, the Invisible Man is hiding in a girls' school, and the girls think he's the Holy Spirit. They left that bit out of the film for some reason. I wonder why. Yeah, this I always do this, by the way, with sex scenes. I write them out like they're fucking Penthouse forum, and then pray to God an editor will save me from myself. Maybe he moves closer and starts kissing her neck again, running his hands over her. Rosalie gasps, and the sound sinks deep into Maybe. He knows at once that he'll remember it for the rest of his life. He hugs her again, feeling her nipples brushing against him, her skin against his. He shuts his eyes tightly, frozen in space. And so Skip Donahue says probably because of all the rape. Yeah, if I had to guess, that's probably why we would. Yeah, this is it's a very rapey scene when it really comes down to it. Super duper rapey. Yeah, let's not get too deep into it here. Let's just try to finish through this and apologize later. Rosalie asks him something in Spanish. He doesn't understand and just murmurs yes. He guides her down to lay beside him and kisses her, running his hand. When she touches him back, her hands swirl with distortion as they glide across him. She brushes against him through his jeans and he almost yelps. It's He can't take his eyes off her, can't stop looking at her face. His hand slips across her stomach. Okay. Her fingertips, his hand slips across her stomach. His fingertips brush against her pubic hair, and she's afraid. He can feel the fear move through her body in a wave. I won't hurt you. I've watched over you for so long. But, Rosalie, he says, just to hear her name, just to say it. You're so beautiful. I wish you could see me. Just to say it. What's your name, Rosalie? What's your name? Rosalie asks. Her voice is so small and fragile, it feels like he's dying. Her voice is so small and fragile, it punctures him. Michael, he says. Michael, maybe says. It's the fortunate truth. It's wrong, and I don't care. Ooh. Ooh. So dirty. So fucking. Skip Donahue says it would be hot if she wasn't 14. Um, yeah, the ages make this like really conflicting for fucking everybody involved. Me, you, everybody. Jesus Christ. That is just oozing creepiness. So wrong. But that's the choice that we've made right here. I will tell you, if we publish this at a major house, they would be like, get that shit out of here. Make those two characters 18 years old. Get the fuck out of here. Like, wouldn't even entertain this bullshit. In fact, I think, now that I'm thinking about it, I think there's a pretty good chance that, so I sent this to, before the rewrite, I sent this to one house where I thought it was like a pretty good fit. And I liked the people at the house. And they just were like, nah, not for us. And so Skip Donahue is saying cringe X10. But it dawns on me that any editor who got this far into the book, they were like, all right, there, Stephen King, fucking It, 1980, cocaine rage. Get the fuck out of here with that. I don't think that you can write that. I don't think that you can write and publish that in this day and age. And I think if we had a professional editor look at it, they would probably say, I don't think you can have this scene in the book here. You could cut this entire scene, right? You could chop this entire, we could fucking just stop at the point where he's like, I'm an angel. And we could imply this entire thing, but that isn't the way that I write for the most part. Like, I'm not one to imply sex. He's usually in pretty graphic fucking terms when I write a thing. And given my own choice, I wouldn't cut this out of the book. I think, as creepy as this is, I think a lot of it is relatively honest here. And it's out of an earnest attempt to tell this story. I'm not quite sure why I made these choices back then, but that's the way that the book was written. I will tell you that a lot has changed in the world since this book was written. It wasn't okay to write this. God, it might have been 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years ago when I was like writing this. It wasn't okay then, but it's less okay now. 1, because I'm like much older, right? And I'm supposed to know better at this point. 2, because like the world has fucking changed a little bit. Like there was not a Me Too movement when this book was being written. There wasn't a term like MAP where like people in earnest like trying to fucking make a go of ebophilia and so forth. But I will tell you like one thing, like, you know, when I was fucking I remember this like very clearly. When I was 14 years old, I was attracted to girls who were like 14 years old. And definitely like when I was like going on the internet and getting into like porno and shit for the first time, I'm like, huh, you know, why aren't there, you know, pictures of girls my age on here or whatever there? Like, I don't want to look at all these old women and so forth. Perilous. You know, fortunately, I didn't go too fucking far down that road. But yeah, I just remember it like very distinctly. I'm like, yeah, I wish I could, you know, like I was much more interested in women that were my own age. So that's fucked up. Anyhow, so Skip Donahue says, yeah, rape was fine back then. So, this is like a weird, and I think it's an interesting point that we have to consider too, because like, I'm probably going to be the one that publishes this. I don't think I can get somebody to buy Lemon Maybe and the Electric Lady. I think I will have to publish it myself. I'll have to pay to get it edited and so forth. So if we're going to put this out, we need to really consider like what we're putting out into the world. I think 7 or 8 years ago when I was like writing this, where it was much less of a consensual scene and much more of a creepy half rape type thing. And it was probably like way more rape than I thought it was at the time. But even this is really fucked up. You should not pretend to be an angel to have sex with somebody under false pretenses. But if we get into the question of like, how rapey is this on a scale of 1 to 10? It's definitely not a 10, and it's definitely not a 2. You know what I'm saying? Clint Eastwood raped a lot back in the day. Did he really? I think a lot of people fucking raped a lot back in the day. Like, you know, our boy David Bowie, hooking up with like 14-year-old groupies. And, yeah, a lot of everybody flying on Epstein's fucking plane. All right, so what do we have here? I had a word count, but then I fucking removed it there. I want to say that this is like either a 3 or a 4 rapey to me, right? Like I think, could he be convicted of rape for this? Ooh. In a court of law? I don't know. Like it's like definitely a mitigating factor that he's fucking invisible. And if she knew the truth about the whole thing, what the fuck? But yeah, like a lot of real difficult ethical questions. And then hopefully there's just one more scene of these two like this, and it is significantly worse. So just steel yourself here if you want to continue in this vein of reading the story. But I really I like a lot of the things that this says about this character. Like his self-loathing and everything. Like now you start to see why he loathes himself and why some of that might be justified. They'd have to find him in the verse-port. Yeah, it's just like some very prickly issues of consent right here. To the point where like we could no longer, there are like certain reviewers where we can't give this to certain reviewers where they're just like, no, I don't want to read books that have violence against women here. And it's not violent, I want to say, but there's definitely some creepy coercion taking place. The real violence that's happening here is sort of the implied emotional violence of the idea that she finds out, in fact, he's not an angel. In fact, he is much more of a devil. He's a fraud. Yeah, this is the weight that he's going to carry for the rest of his book. You know, we saw the part where earlier in the book he is just churning himself apart, like, I can't believe I did that to her. You know, and he just copped a feel there. Here, he's doing something much wronger, and I like that he knows that this is wrong, and he's chosen to double down on how awful it all is. Oof. Ugh. All right, we're doing a good job because I feel terrible. So if the book is evoking an emotion in me, and like this is like the 5th or 6th edit of this book so far, and if it can still make you feel awful, well then it has some power as an artistic piece. So Spethiwa said, I was watching and listening, by the way. I just had my hands full. Please, God, tell me that's not a euphemism. Do I have a daily writing schedule? Says Panda from Mars. While I'm editing, all I can do is edit. I can't write. When I'm not editing, I wake up every day and I try to get at least 2 hours of writing in every single day. I do either editing or writing every day. And editing just takes a lot of that energy that comes from writing, because you can see we're like rewriting and making choices and so forth. But definitely, I very much miss writing while I'm editing. After we edit this book, I know I talked about working on Rapasaurus or something like that. I want to finish writing a novel-length piece, or at least a novella-length piece, before we edit anything else again. I feel very much that I'm like out of the habit of writing, and I don't like that feeling. So I should, because I'm going to hell. Scanning assignments with my phone for online submission. Okay, cool. Whew. Yeah, it's a shame, because like I know that you have felt super uncomfortable with some of our other sections, and I wanted to get a relative creepiness gauge on this from you. I think it's real fucking creepy. Do I listen to anything when I'm writing? Yes. Usually I listen to music, generally music that I've heard before, so that it kind of fades into the background. However, I've read studies that people are more effective at writing when they don't listen to music. So I've been trying that for a little bit. Whoops, I was thinking about something like having like a fucking wave machine or something in the background while we're doing these editing streams. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do writing streams where I'm just writing, and in the background there's like cool beats to relax and study to, or some other horseshit like that, um, so that people like aren't just staring at me and they have some music in the background. So yeah, like normally I listen to music while I'm writing, but I've heard that is less effective than trying to write in silence, and it makes sense. Music is definitely occupying some parts of your mind, but normally, so this is a multiplayer scene, so I wasn't creeped out so much. Guy definitely overstepped many bounds. I really think so, and we're not trying to like shock people just to shock them or to be weird, but I definitely want to get into this idea that people who have power abuse that power, and I want to get into like the effects of that abuse of power has on him, and I don't think we do a good job of this, but I want to display some of the effect that has on his victim also in this case. And yeah, it's a fucking tough one right here. I don't know how I can see why the woman that originally edited this with me left me. Let's just put it that way. Whew. Yeah, she knew what she was doing. God. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, in some ways, I'm a creepy motherfucker, y'all. There's no getting around it. But at least I'm self-aware, so I got that going for me. All right. Well, I promise you, Chapter 19 is less creepy and more violent. I don't know what's in Chapter 20, but we'll potentially try to do like 19 and 20 tomorrow. Chapter 19 is real short. So we're moving towards a series of climaxes for day one. And I gotta tell you, like, as much as this is like painful and a little bit like chewing glass and everything, I do think that we're doing good editing work. And I think we're asking some good questions and like making a few notes like later on in the story. I don't think we do a good enough job of dealing with the impact of this. And we may need to work a little bit on that, just so that we're not like kind of glossing over the fact that this is like an atrocity that this guy is committing. There will be many more in this book. There's a lot of war crime level shit happening in Lemon, maybe, and the Electric Lady, and it's meant to be counterbalanced among some of the humor and shit in here. Ooh, good God. All right, let me get out of here. I'm going to try and go for a motorcycle ride today. I might take some pictures, and yeah, I'll see what I can do.